everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just wanted to do a quick video on PICC lines because I have 4 sleeps left until mine's going to be removed, hopefully, provided my blood counts are fine for chemo. They have been, but touched wood, hopefully they still will be for this last one because I might cry if my chemo is delayed. So yeah, if you are interested in PICC lines or you just want to see my face, keep watching and I'm going to let you know everything that I know. Okay, so I do have notes on my iPad, so if I'm looking at something, that's why, because there's stuff that I didn't want to forget to mention. So what is a PICC line? Here, let me show you what my PICC line looks like. Because I have a clear band-aid on it, it's really easy to see. I'll get nice and close. So this is the line going right into my body below the orange thing. And then this is the secure cath, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. This is the line. It goes up into here, and this piece covered is actually the piece. There's like a little screw top that they hook the IVs and stuff into. So that's what, and that down here is the name of the person who cleaned the line. I guess they have to put their name and a date. So if you wanted to know what a PICC line looked like on a human, that's what it looks like. There's a little bit of redness, which I'm also going to touch on, but that's what she looks like. So that's what my PICC line looks like. A PICC line stands for a peripherally inserted central catheter. So basically it's a line that goes into a vein inside your arm, and it travels up your arm and over, and then it goes into a major vein right beside your heart in your chest. So that's done using ultrasound. So you go into a x-ray room. Ooh, my little turban's falling down here. You go into an x-ray room and the tech will put it in guided with an ultrasound. And after it's placed, you get an x-ray done of the area, and then a doctor signs off on it saying that yes, it's placed properly. Line coming outside your body is actually, it could be 1 line, 2 line, or 3 lines. I have a 1 line, and it's called, according to this website, a lumen. Nobody's ever referred to it to me as a lumen, but apparently it's a lumen. And the lumen is a needleless connector, and it has a disinfectant cap on the top. So in this piece right here, where would the end of it be? The end right there has this little screw cap on it. So even if this is exposed, which I do need to, it is actually, there's a little bit of air getting through. So even if that's exposed, there's a cap on it which plugs it so nothing can come down the line. So for some hospitals, they only cover this part right here, like the blue down to here, and they leave this exposed so that you can get other things like blood work and I don't know, so I think some like MRI type of, like they have to put stuff in you for those. Some of those stuff can be run through it. But anyway, some hospitals do that. Our hospital here in North Bay, because chemotherapy patients are so immunocompromised, they cover the whole thing and nothing's allowed to run through here. So I have my blood work when I have to get my bloods taken every 2nd week. They're all done using an actual needle, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. They just want to make sure that your line doesn't get infected so that you don't get sepsis and die because you have no immune system to fight it off. So I guess I'm grateful for that. So I just wanted to talk about the secure cath, which is this thing right here. Not all hospitals do that. Some hospitals, there's just this line running right into your body. So with the secure cath, how it works is that in that orange piece, there's 2 metal like hooks, like I don't know, they call it butterfly, it makes it sound good. I look at it like crab legs. And what they do is they grasp underneath your skin so that if the line pulls on those 2 little prongs that are underneath your skin, they don't allow the line to get pulled out. And that's just to make sure that, you know, I have a dog, if his toenail grabbed onto it, that it couldn't rip out. I mean, it could, don't get me wrong. That's why they say you can't, oh, I guess that's something I should mention. When you have a PICC line, you can't pick up anything that's more than 10 pounds. For that reason is that it can actually pull the line out. So the secure cath, it has like a 10-pound weight on it. So anything over that, and it definitely could rip out. Now, some hospitals don't use the secure cath. So they have what's called, hold on, that's in my notes. I don't have one, so I'm not an expert on it. A stat lock. which I would get sometimes. When I would get this changed at the VON, the Victorian Nurses Order of Nurses, which is like home care to other people, In other places, it's just called home care. They would actually put the stat lock. So they'd have the stat lock right here, and they click that into, it's like a band-aid, so it sticks to your skin, and it's got a clip, and this would clip into it. That used to piss the hospital so much when they would do the change. They just said it was really unnecessary to have 2 locks on it. But I know they used to do that, and it is unnecessary. It's just more sticky shit touching your skin that you don't need, and it's really firm and really rigid, and with the secure cap, that is supposed to get rid of the need for that. So yeah, but those are the 2 different kinds. You're either gonna have one with the orange, or you're gonna have one without, and it's gonna have to be locked into the sticky thing. So when you get your PICC line, you have to have an emergency PICC kit. So in the emergency PICC kits, you're gonna have all the supplies that you need, and for like an emergency change. If you hold on for 1 second, well, it's gonna be like 1 second your time. It's gonna be like 5 minutes for me to find it in my time. I'm gonna go find one of my kits to actually show you guys. I got 2. I was approved for 2, although it was a headache to get either of these. I swear to God, I don't know what they think that we're doing with these, like selling them on the street or whatever, but the government approved me for 2. So I have 2. So the kits come like this. Very exciting. I guess they're like this. I don't know if this is going to be backwards or not. Nope, it looks, I can read it. So PICC, and it's got a whole bunch of crap in it. Device, Tegaderm, IV advanced dressing. I don't know. It's got needles because you need to flush it. They need to make sure that that they can pull back on blood. There's masks that are in here because when it's being changed, if this line is open, like if the band-aid is off where it's going into your skin, you have to have a mask on. Anybody who's near you has to have a mask on because you actually breathe out bacteria that can get into it. So you got to wear the mask. It's got a PICC cover. I don't know, alcohol. In this thing right here, it looks like an 80s headband right there. It's actually a PICC, like it's actually a very tight PICC cover, so that after you get your dressing changed, you can put the tight PICC cover on for about an hour, so that the Tegaderm or IV 3000 or whatever you have on it can actually get a chance to mesh with your skin. So yeah, these have to be, oh, the light. Sometimes I'm so washed out. Those have to be on you all the time because if your dressing comes off or gets wet, you have to bring that with you to wherever you're going to get it changed. So here we would, like personally for me, I would probably call home care. Maybe, I don't know, I've kind of had a weird experience with home care, so I may just actually go right up to the hospital and have them to change it. Fortunately, that hasn't happened, so it's been kind of nice. Something I actually get asked a lot by other cancer patients, not real people because they don't care, but other cancer patients, is why I have a PICC line and not a port. So the difference between the PICC and the port, so I don't have a port, so obviously I'm not an expert, but a port goes in to your chest, which I'm sure goes into a big vein, goes into artery, goes into something, and the line runs up to your neck. So with a port, you actually have to have a surgeon place it. And in the town I live in, there's only one doctor that can do that. Actually, my surgeon, who's going to be doing my breast surgery, which I find kind of cool. And when I met with my oncologist and asked for a port, because that was actually what I wanted in my research, because there's just, I know that putting it in and taking it out is a bit more of a process, but having it, your life is a bit more flexible. Where it's a PICC, your life is a bit more limiting, which I'll get into in a second. The reason that I have a PICC line is because my doctor said get a PICC line. My chemo had to start really, really quickly. I didn't have a lot of time, and if I'd asked for one and there was going to be a significant delay in my chemo, so I just trusted her judgment and went with the PICC line. The PICC line, because you don't need to book a theater room, it was quick. I had it put in, like there was availability. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but I had my port put in the day before I had my chemo too. I get that, but here in North Bay, it's a small community and we would have to have somebody to put it in. So the issue wasn't that I'd have to wait after it was put in to start my chemo. It was just, there was nobody to put it in. So I had the PICC line put in. And why you would choose one of these over just regular cannulas or IVs is to save your veins. So chemo is very, very gross, and it can actually burn. If they miss a vein, it can actually leave like burns on the outside, like not on the outside, on the inside of your skin. It also causes your veins to fall and collapse away. And because now I'm a cancer patient essentially for life, I need to make sure that my veins are top notch in case we have to do this again. So the PICC line does save all these veins. Now I do have, you know, the CT scan, whatever, and the MRI, whatever, put in through there, but at least the actual chemo itself is going to be running through the PICC line. Now I am having my PICC removed at the end of my heavy chemo for my Herceptin's maintenance, which happens every 3 weeks for a total of a year. I am going to be doing just a cannula every time for that. So I'm hoping it's not as corrosive and battery acid like as the chemo, but that's, I don't know. We'll see. I definitely think if I have trouble getting the cannula put in every time, that it's going to cause so much anxiety for me that I am going to ask at that point to get a port put in. But hopefully it's just an easy process. It's only every 3 weeks. I think I can tough it out. But anyway. So with the PICC line, it is a little bit life limiting. So I say that and compared to a port, which is completely under your skin, there's no like band-aid, there's nothing coming out. It's accessed at the time it needs to be accessed. Then they pull the needle out and you're good to go. So for this, because it's always kind of in and out of my skin, there are a lot of rules I have to follow in that I can't pick up anything heavy. So 10 pounds is the limit. So my dog is 22 to 25 pounds. So that's been interesting. I've been picking him up with both arms, like kind of scooping him up. But even then I try not to do it often. You can't do repetitive tasks such as vacuuming is a no-no because it's just putting too much strain on the line that's going up by my heart. And the little freaking painful claw clips right there. And you can't go to the gym, A, because of germs. I'm immunocompromised, so I shouldn't be there anyway. But the other reason is actually because of the sweating. So you don't want sweat to get trapped in here. It can take off the Band-Aid, but also it can make it so that the actual opening itself can get really gross and infected. Yeah, I think, oh yeah, getting it wet. As if I almost left that out. So showering and baths are kind of a big deal when you have a PICC line. So baths, they say no, even if you're keeping your arm out of the water, because when you get in the bath, you get really hot. I've taken 1 bath since I got mine. So I'm so excited when it comes out to just take some baths. But showering has been interesting too. I know they make PICC covers that you can use. So they're like, I didn't get one, so I'm not an expert, but I think they like essentially go over your arm and then you pump them up. I think as one kind. Then there's another one which is just really tight over top of it, so that way you can shower normally. That is not the method I used, so I'm gonna show you kind of the method I used right now. Okay, so for showering, since I got my PICC line, I have said that it's a good thing that I have no hair because I basically only use one arm to shower. So what I do, I got 2 PICC line covers when I got this, and one I've actually stitched a little bit tighter. So I take those and I put those on. I'm not going to do it because I'm lazy and then I'm just not going to do it. But anyway, so I put this one underneath, which is pretty tight on my upper arm up here. And then I actually put this one over top of it just so there's, you know, a lot of stuff. And then the real magic is the press and seal. So then I take 3 sheets, usually like 3 rounds of press and seal, and I go above and beyond. So I go down, if it's on, I go up above it and I go down below it to make sure that the press and seal is pressing against my skin. Obviously it's not perfect, but it does keep like the splashing water away. But in the shower, I mostly just keep my arm like this so that water doesn't run down. It does get to be a pain in the behind because then I only use this arm to shower, which is shitty. Please hold. I'm having a super hot flash right now. Well, don't hold. You just get to watch me deal with it. Chemo menopause. It's a good time. So when I'm showering, I'm using just this arm, which is really fun trying to clean this armpit. Anyway, I'm so excited for the day that this comes out. I'm either, well, it'll be after chemo, so we'll see, but I'm really excited to take a bath or take a shower with both arms. So anyway, now I want to talk to you guys about the things I wish that I had known ahead of time before getting a PICC line. So when I got mine, everybody told me once it's in, like, you won't feel it, and going in it doesn't hurt and all of that. Well, you know what, going in, oh, the press and seal fell. Going in, it didn't hurt, quite honestly. They freeze it with a local freezing, like what you got at the dentist, and it didn't hurt going in. I mean, it wasn't comfortable lying there knowing somebody was like, I don't know, just running a line through your body. But then the freezing wears off, and anybody who's had a piercing knows that when your skin is pierced, it hurts if it can't seal itself back up and scab over. It especially hurts when you've got a airtight band-aid over top of it, so it doesn't get any of the natural air to help aid in that healing process. So for 2 weeks, I basically had a super uncomfortable arm, and it's my right arm. Apparently on your left side, even though it seems like it would be closer, it's not a direct line, so they have to do it on this side because it's more direct to the valve, or the where it needs to go by your heart. So that's the reason why it's not over here. So on my right, when I'd be using my right hand in bed, because it was in so much pain, so uncomfortable, I ended up putting a pillow underneath my arm so that I wasn't moving it as much. So another thing that I wish that I had known before I got this, just so I would have been more prepared, is lining up the secure cath. So even though it's mounted in my skin, there is a little bit of wiggle room for this thing right here. So when it's off, it does move. And if they tape it up so that it's not running with the vein that it's in, by Jesus, does it ever hurt? Because the secure cath little claw thingies will then end up pulling against your skin. So 1 week, it was actually the week my brother was visiting from Alberta, so it was a painful week. But I didn't want to go get it fixed because I didn't want to waste any, family time. I could feel the little balls from the secure cath so painfully. I thought they were going to rip through my skin. So if you're getting one of these, make sure that it's placed perfectly. It's just so important that it's going to sit on your skin for 7 days, because you have to get it changed. You can get it changed if the dressing falls off or anything like that, but the rule of thumb is every 7 days it gets changed, so you don't want to live with it, and you don't want to go back and get it fixed. So just get them to place it right. Be aware it's your body. Look at how it sits, and when it's the most comfortable, take a picture if that helps you, but do what you have to do so that it sits comfortably. Another thing that I wish I'd known ahead of time, so I could have prepared for it, I wish I'd known that the dressing wasn't going to ever last the 7 days. So, get something to patch it. I bought this roll of stuff off Amazon. Now, they'll give you like Tegaderm and stuff if you ask for extras, but I like that this stuff I can cut so that if I need to patch it, I can just patch little sections, whereas the Tegaderm, and I know the Tegaderm has little cutty things on it. My body doesn't like Tegaderm, quite frankly, so that's why I don't use it. So the stuff that I bought, I just looked it up on Amazon, is called Zorvo FlexiFit Opsite Transparent Adhesive Film Roll. I looked at the YouTube comments, and it looked like a lot of them were YouTube comments, the Amazon comments, and a lot of them seem to be for tattoos, so I guess it's great for covering tattoos. It's also great for fixing your PICC line covers because you will sweat, or it will catch on something, or they won't put it on right to begin with, and it will come off. So in my case, I'm gonna have to, you can see right here, this, oh, it's so bright, but this is all, focus camera, that's better. This is all lifted right there. It's lifted right to there, so I'm gonna patch, because this actually has air escaping, so I know right there for this thing it's letting air in, and it's just getting a little closer than I'd like to the actual line, so I'm letting a blister heal, which brings me to my next thing I want to talk about, before I patch it. So the reason I have a blister is when you're on chemo, this didn't happen to me the first few rounds, but the more you're on chemo, or at least the kind of chemo I'm on, the more and more my skin got to be very delicate. It's like after you exfoliate your face, like a lot, and you have completely new, fresh baby skin, that's what the skin all over my entire body, feels like. So your skin has rapidly regenerating cells on it, which means the chemo is going after your skin as well. So it's not as tough and things don't heal as well. So the reason I get blisters from my PICC line is twofold. One, it's because I have an adverse reaction to what they're putting on. So if they don't let the stuff dry, so they'll clean it with, I don't know what they are because I'm not a nurse, but they use a couple things to clean it. And if they stick that Band-Aid on there, whether it be IV-3000 or Tegaderm or whatever it is, if it hasn't had a chance to dry before they put a Band-Aid over top of it that's completely sealed from the air, it is going to irritate the shit out of your arm. It's just gonna happen, and you're just gonna want to rip that line out like pulling a lawnmower cord. So make sure while you're sitting there watching them change it, don't turn away, don't look at your phone. Make sure that it is dried before they put that Band-Aid on there. I cannot stress that enough. For me, the issue I'm having with I'm getting a lot of blisters back here is because of the way they put the Band-Aid on in the chair is not the way my arm wants to sit. So when I pull my arm back and I'm sitting normal, the Band-Aids are actually like pulling at the corners from it being tight on my skin. Like it wants to, that's not where it wants to be. So I tend to get actual blisters like what you'd get from walking in shoes, new shoes on the backs of your heels. Those are the kind of blisters that I'll get under the edges of the IV-3000 or the Tegaderm. It's just because my skin is sensitive and it was put on in an unnatural position. So for me, this stuff is imperative because I'm constantly adjusting it, and I'm sure the hospital would have a huge problem with that because I'm dicking around with it and they don't want us touching it. But the fact is that I'm up there often enough. If I can fix something myself and do it safely, I'm going to do it. I'm not recommending that to anybody else. If you feel like you can't do a good job, go get them to fix it. But in my case, I feel confident that I can patch the edges because nothing's exposed. My skin doesn't particularly love this stuff, so I try to do it as long as I can wait. But it is what it is. I think that's everything that I can think of for PICC lines. And obviously, I'm not an expert on them. I'm just going by my experience and things that I've dealt with. If you have a question or anything you'd like to ask, or just anything in general, it doesn't have to just be about a PICC line. You can just put in the comments below. I don't get that many comments, so I answer all questions, unless they're ridiculous. Unless they're about some holistic cure, or they're lecturing me on sugar or something like that, in which case I just delete them, so you just might as well not waste your time. But if you actually have a question about cancer, my cancer, what's going on, or PICC line, just put it down below. For a quick update, which I think is pretty obvious from everything I've said in this video, I have my last Taxol next Friday, or Thursday, sorry, today is Sunday. So in 4 sleeps, I'll have my final heavy chemo. I'm obviously on their Herceptin maintenance for a year, but I don't really consider that chemo. It is getting a bit stronger, so I do feel a little bit more of the side effects from the Herceptin, but it's nothing like chemo. It's just like flu-like symptoms for a few days. Yeah, and I'm dose dense, so I didn't do 12 cycles. I only did 4 of the Taxol. I do still have neuropathy in my fingers. I do get pain. I'm heavily medicated for the pain, and soon that will be over, and then I can heal and start the next part of my journey. But that was just kind of a little update right at the end, so you guys kind of know where I'm at. But aside from that, please subscribe. Please give me a like. Please don't give me a dislike, even if you dislike cancer, because somebody keeps disliking all my videos and it hurts my feelings. Cancer sucks, but it's okay to give me a like just because of how much work these little videos are. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be able to put up another video soon. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!